Not what you were expecting, is it? I am Craig, the pastor of the Bridge Church, and you didn't expect me to come in looking like that. And this past week at the Bridge Church, we were in Mark chapter 11, where Jesus comes into Jerusalem, the triumphal entry. Often we look at it on Palm Sunday, but we're going through Mark, so we're in that text. And the thing that I repeated over and over again was that it looked different than what people expected the coming of the King into Jerusalem to look like. I mean, the disciples, I'm sure, were so excited. Finally, Jesus is coming into the city. He's going to be king. And yet, shortly afterwards, he's on the cross. Everything has gone sideways. The crowds, they're so swept up in the moment. They're so excited. They're throwing their cloaks on the ground. They're cutting off palm branches. And in the end, where are they? When Jesus goes on trial, when he goes to the cross, they're nowhere to be seen either. It looked different than what they thought it was going to look like, the coming of the King. And the leaders of Israel, it definitely looked different to them. To have this prophet from Galilee coming in on a donkey, that wasn't what the coming of the King was supposed to look like either. For every one of these groups of people, it looked different. And yet, this was God's plan. His purpose to save people was for this King to come in humble, riding on a donkey, giving his life on a cross. We talked about how all of us have these scripts in life, these assumptions of how things are going to work, what things are going to look like. You expect your pastor to come into the shot and not to have pig nose and Elton John glasses on, but sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes things go off the rails, they go off track. And what I repeated in the sermon on Sunday was that even in the midst of that, when things go sideways, that Jesus is still at work, and that our job as disciples is to obey him, to endure through the difficulty, to welcome his work however it comes. And so my one big question for you this week as you talk about this text and talk about this sermon is this: how do you tend to respond when life goes off script, when things go sideways? And what does following Jesus have to do with that?